as soon as I hit the "and we back," Bryan Broaddus is when I'm gonna start to do it.
You got it. Go ahead.
I have begun, sir.
Begun.
I'm excited, sir.
I thought you were just kind of talking to me, and then all of a sudden you kind of throw, and we're back, and and I'm like, all right, we're back.
Brian, we've been working for a year now. You know that when I go, "and we back," is like, here we go.
Sometimes you draw me off sides. You do the Dan Marino hut. You kind of give me you put your hand up, and then you don't do it, and then you come back and do it. So
that's because
how you doing, brother? Everything good? Good? You good?
That's because I'm creative, and I'm a content creator. So I gotta change up the intro. I just can't, you know what I mean? But "and we back" is here we go. So hey, no more audibles. Man,
good deal, man.
Man, Brian, I know we supposed to be talking about the Texans, man. But this draft stuff, this draft stuff.
You looked at a bunch of guys, didn't you?
It get better and better, man. Let me pull out my list, man.
Yeah.
Brian, you told me yesterday, man, you was gonna go watch them Georgia kids, and
I did. I watched Georgia kids,
Luther Burton, and Will Campbell.
I watched a bunch of guys. You want to start this scouting report, or you want me to start the scouting report?
If I had to guess, you dislike 3 of them. If I had to guess, I'm just guessing.
No, really, only one.
You only dislike one.
I struggled with one. The Will Campbell one, I mean, there's some positive things about Will Campbell, the LSU tackle.
Sure.
But I'm interested to hear what you said. I will say this. I think you're right about the Missouri wide receiver, Luther Burton.
Okay, Brian, let's do this. How about this? I'm going to rank them from my favorites to the ones I like the least.
So the 4 that we did, the 4 or all of them, just the 4 we did?
Your 4. Okay. So in order, I like Luther Burton. He's so good.
Yes.
In my personal opinion, Will Campbell is number 2 for me.
Okay.
And I struggle with Will Campbell.
Okay.
3, Michael Williams. And the linebacker, Jaylen Walker.
Jaylen Walker.
Jaylen Walker's 4 for me. Bryan Broaddus. But we'll go down that list though. Oh, Bryan Broaddus. Let me tell you something, man. The best form of expression in football is yards after.
Yeah.
That's the best expression in football. That means if I throw a pass and you catch it at the 30 and you take it to the 45, Brian, yak means the world to me here.
It does.
I see teams build their entire operation around yards after the catch. When I watch Luther Burton, he lines up all over the place.
Wide receiver, Missouri.
Luther Burton, wide receiver, Missouri. And the offense doesn't ask much of him.
Nope.
They line him up in the backfield and throw swings. They throw screens. They throw hitches and slants. Boy, we love some hitches and slants. They'll get him in open space and they go, "Get up there now." And he goes. Yeah. And it's so hard to tackle him, Bryan Broaddus. Sometimes he's running through people. Sometimes he's running around. Sometimes he's using the tackler's momentum to get around. Sometimes I see him high point a football, Bryan Broaddus, and I go, "Oh, well, you're a little more than the yak guy. I just saw you high point a football." Sometimes he catches the ball away from his body. Sometimes if the ball is coming over his inside shoulder, and he'll redirect to the opposite shoulder and make a catch over the opposite shoulder, Bryan Broaddus. So not only is he a yak guy, like some running back type of character, but he's doing some nuanced receiver things. And I love that about him. He's currently my 3rd receiver out of all these guys that I've watched so far. But Luther Burton, dynamite.
I feel like that you've got this guy really, really well. The thing that, of all the things that you mentioned, the thing that I was really the most impressed by him was his ability to track the ball.
Ball tracking, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because you're right. When that ball goes up, you could see his eyes and his hands. You could see himself getting his body in position. And I'm not saying a body catcher. I'm saying he is working to get his hands, his feet, his eyes all on that ball. And I think he is super impressive with, you mentioned the run after catch.
Yeah.
They throw it to him. He will zigzag. He will dart. He will run by people. He will leave them grasping at air.
Yep.
The way that he runs the ball in the open field. And I was really, really impressed with him and the way that he, and you said it last night, and I was thinking, he's overrating this guy. Yeah, he's overrating this guy. Nah, this guy, he legitimately has a quarterback that can get him the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And their offense is pretty cool because they'll get in bunch formations and they'll scatter. And like when him, running shallow crosses or running up the field. I mean, he killed LSU last year. I remembered a TV game and I was thinking, God, this kid I remember him. But I didn't remember, like, when you sit down and really watch him and just study him, you're like, okay, this kid is a natural catcher of the ball. He doesn't fight it at all. It's super impressive. The first three receivers, and I know me, I'm calling Travis Hunter a receiver in my book, and maybe not in a lot of people's books. He's not a receiver. He's a corner, then a receiver. I think he's going to be a receiver.
Sure.
But Hunter, McMillan, Burton, I'm off to a pretty good start with these cats.
Let me just say, Brian, what an opportunity for the Cowboys, right? Like, if you suck this year, and you say it like this, you say, look, you earned the pick. If you suck this year,
right?
What an opportunity to get a dude. I think even if you don't find yourself in that top 5 or 6, I think Burton is going to be a guy that'll fall around like 10 or 11 or 12 or something like that.
Yeah.
You'll have an opportunity to get a stud, I truly believe, to get, as long as you don't overthink this thing and go get the safety or something. I'm not here to get the safety that early. Or to get one of these other guys that we about to talk about here. But if you just stay focused on that big 5 or 6 guys, the 3 receivers, the edge from Penn State, the running back, as long as you, or the one tech from Michigan, Graham,
right?
As long as you get one of those 6 guys, I think you hit on your guy, Brian.
Yeah, it's funny. Zach Wolchuk and Zach and I work together on 105.3 The Fan. We do an afternoon show together, and Zach is looking at guys. He was looking, and he looked at Graham. He asked me this question. He goes, "Is Graham already the best he can be? Do you see more from Graham? Graham being the defensive tackle, Michigan. Do you see?" He goes, "Do you think he's got more upside to his game?"
I do. Because he don't.
I do too.
He don't really know how to use his hands yet. He's not really good with his hands yet. So like the more he plays, I think the more the game is going to continue to like slow down for him. I do think he may be like as strong as he's possibly going to be. Like he's probably like maxed out there. But what's going to happen in the league, Bryan Broaddus? I'm just guessing they're going to trim some of that fat.
And 320 guy, now.
He probably going to play at 315. And he's going to be able to play all over the place. And I think a team really wants that for him. Play at 1, 3, 5, and 4 sometimes, Brian. And I think he's only going to get quicker from here. He's only going to get in better shape. His hands are going to get better from here. So I do think he has some room to grow.
Yeah, I kind of felt like, man, I'm watching the guy play down the line of scrimmage. I'm watching him get up the field. Watching him make I'm seeing some violence to his game.
Yes, sir.
And I can understand why Zach kind of feels that way. I mean, you get a guy that big and you're worried about the Michigan thing. And Zach's like, listen, I'm not doing it because of the helmet and all. But he goes, I just kind of feel like that's as good as he's going to get. And I'm like, Zach, I respect that. But I see a guy that he thought that he was kind of like that Braden Fisk from Florida State.
No, I think he's different. First of all, Braden Fisk was like 280, 290 or something, right?
It was smaller. Yeah, that's what I was like. Zach, I go, he's a smaller guy.
This guy is 320. He's going to test much better than Fisk.
Yeah, I think so too.
Maybe not like 40 time and stuff like that, but like bag drills and, running the figure 8 and all that kind of stuff. Like he's going to have a phenomenal combine because he's humongous and he moves well.
Right.
And he's strong.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Man, Brian, let me just keep going down that list, man. Will Campbell. I've talked about him at at length here, I don't really see anything phenomenal there, but I do see a player that he'll be a solid player for you. I think he's a cool player. I wouldn't feel great taking him top 5 or top 8 or anything like that. I see some people online that say he's a guard. I am a nuanced offensive line guy, and I just don't believe that, guards are bad tackles or that centers are bad guards. I think guard, tackle, and center are 3 different people. They all got 3 different jobs and 3 different body types, skill sets. I don't think he's a guard. I think he's a full-blown tackle, and I think he has to be a tackle because as a guard, he plays too high. He played too damn high to be a guard. And, some people's going to talk about his arm length issues or whatever, but I think if he learns how to use his hands better, he'll be fine with his arm length. But I do like, there were some people that were like kind of comparing him to Guyton a little bit. I don't think he's a Guyton type guy because he keeps those elbows tight.
He does.
And he keep them damn thumbs up, bro. I love that. Yep. That's O-line stuff right there. He keep them elbows tight and he keep them thumbs up, but he doesn't always punch consistently, right? So I would love for him to punch consistently. I would love for him to go to Duke Manyweather and learn how to use his hands a little bit more. I can see the athleticism. He just doesn't use it all the time. Sometimes he's popping the hell out of people. He just doesn't do it all the time. He whoops the hell out of linebackers because they small, but I want to see him whoop people when they big. But Will Campbell's cool. Just not a top 10 guy for me.
Yeah, I there's like I know on Dane Brugler's list that Will Campbell is the first tackle, and I know talking to Dane, he was, in his first initial list, there's some struggle where to put guys, and and he was kind of trying to figure out about Will Campbell, and I've seen Will Campbell's entire career when he made his first start as a freshman to where we are today. I've seen games where tackles have broken him down.
Sure.
And then I'm seeing games where, he's in control. The thing
Jared versus last year made me terrified to even come near Will Campbell for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. And that's where, but you can watch him play against Turner too, in Alabama from last year, that we all kind of were struggling with him where, where are you going to put him? But the thing with Campbell, he plays in that 2-point stance, so you never see his hand on the ground kind of a thing. He's always playing upright, and you're right about how tall he gets. I kind of felt like that he plays on the insides of his feet a little bit, and it's like down instead of being
like he's knock-kneed a little bit, like his knees
down,
clamped together.
So you watch when his feet on impact. And he'll kind of get rocked. He almost like he gets rocked a little bit.
Sure.
And then he kind of scrambles back. I mean, he's the guy has athletic ability for somebody that big, but you're right about the hand placement. I just didn't see like the footwork, like sometimes like a one-legged player, foot comes up, foot down, he's blocking. Now he gets the other foot down, and he's
getting back inside, keeping the post foot, things like that.
It seems like he was playing like on the insides of his, like he was playing off his big toes, instead of playing flat and kind of
off the balls of his feet as opposed to
he was playing in, and I do admire the kid's toughness. He's battle tested. He's gone against some of the best edge rushers in the Southeastern Conference.
When I was coaching, Brian, let me say this. When I was coaching, I had a coach teach me this. There's certain ways that we can end up, and coach would be like, we're not strong like this. You're not strong. Like if you're leaning over, you're not strong. Like if you're standing up, if you're bending at the waist, you're not strong. If you on your heels, you're not strong. Will doesn't have I'm strong posture.
Right.
His posture looks
totally
off.
agree. I totally agree. He is a big, long guy. He's almost like, and he's not light. Like I remember guys like, there was this David Bakhtiari I thought was really, really light.
Sure.
From, when he was with Colorado, the Packers got him. He got hurt. But David Bakhtiari for a long time. But he kind of played that same where 1 foot up,
floating,
1 foot down. Yeah. And then but he's keeping himself between the quarterback and the defender.
Yep.
So he's punching, and then all of a sudden the foot comes up.
He's doing his
He's on
job.
one foot. Yeah.
He's doing his job.
And you're kind of like, God, that technique looks a little rough,
It
but
just ain't
he's
pretty.
doing his job.
Mhm.
He's doing his job. And the more that to me, watching Will Campbell, I was having visions of the South Carolina game this year where I felt like there were times where he just, he got broken down,
Sure.
but he's top 5.
To be ranked like this, I want you to be dominant.
I just do not see that. But I think that he's a player that, like you said earlier, if he was in the mix of the last year's group.
So let's do that, Brian. I was just about to pull that list. I was just about to pull that list up, Brian. Okay. Yeah. So he's clearly not Olu. He's clearly not Fuaga. So let's start here. Yeah. J.C. Latham last year. J.C. Latham or Campbell?
Well, see, Campbell, to me, J.C. Latham is just a mammoth dude.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I would take Campbell just because the athletic ability.
Okay.
Myself.
Mims from Georgia last year.
Yeah, I think I would take Campbell.
I would take Latham and Mims over Campbell. What about Fautanu from Washington?
I liked Fautanu a lot. I think I would take Fautanu over him.
Okay. That's 4 guys for you. That's 6 for me. Jordan Morgan?
Jordan Morgan, really, really good athlete, but light. I liked Jordan Morgan a lot. I think I would take Campbell. I think I would take Campbell over Jordan Morgan.
I got Campbell right after Jordan Morgan. So I got Campbell over Guyton, Fisher, Kingsley Sewell-Matea, and Patrick Paul. Patrick Paul ain't good. But
I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
see, Latham, I wasn't as high on Latham as you were.
Got you.
So yeah.
I got you. Just but listen to how we talking about Will Campbell. And I actually looked it up. He's 11 on Brugler's. Hey, y'all be sure to tap in with Dane Brugler on The Athletic and check out his list. He's 11th on Brugler's board. And I think that's way too high for me, Brian.
I think it's too high as well. I really do.
Now, I think if he falls to like 26 for you or something like that, I think that's a fantastic place for him, but it's too high. But Brian, that's the last of the 4 guys that I really had a solid experience with. At least I can look at Will Campbell and go, I don't think he's a bad player. I just don't look at him as a top, 10 or so guy like that. But Michael Williams, the edge guy.
Yeah, this is where I started having some problems. And I know you sounded like that you liked Williams more than what I did.
I didn't like Williams. So this is my thing about Williams, right? I think you have to figure out what you like. This is flavor of ice cream because I'm a fan of you, Bryan Broaddus.
Yeah.
And I'm not the fan of the kid that got traits but need work. I'm not a fan of that guy, right? But there's a coach somewhere that'll go, man, do you see that arm length? Do you see
6'5", 265?
His build, how he moves for 260? But some other coach will see that and go, give me that kid. But the type of evaluator I go, right, but he runs down the middle of people and he doesn't have a counter move. That's my problem.
Yeah. Just looking at my notes, you said it. This guy's a rotational edge rusher is what he is. And, but okay, it's Georgia. They got a lot of kids that play. I get it. That's maybe a little unfair to him, but he is a rotational player. I think he's got exceptional size for the position.
Yes, sir.
Bill Parcells used to tell us, Bill Parcells is like, if you're talking about like those old 3-4 ends, he goes, gosh, give me the guy that's 6'5", 280.
Yeah.
Give me that. That's my guy. But this kid's 6'5", 265. He looks the part.
Fantastic.
I kind of felt like Voch that he was a better run defender than he was a pass player.
Sure.
And I think the leverage he plays with, the long arms, the reach, I just like to see him get rid of blockers though a little bit quicker. Mm-hmm. I felt there were some times where he got caught up on some guys.
Yeah.
But he'll keep his outside arm free for that leverage. But I just like to see more quickness off the snap. I was expecting, when you look at like Carter from Penn State, the way he gets off the ball, man, that maybe I'm asking for a lot there. Maybe I'm asking for too much.
No,
But
I don't think so, Brian, because
Michael,
Dane got him ranked sixth. I mean eighth. He's ranked eighth on Dane's board. So you're not asking for too much.
I do. I think you're totally right about him. I'd just like to see a little bit more quickness off the snap. I think he gets stuck on blocks as a pass rusher. You mentioned about rushing down the middle. They'll use him on the twist. He got free on the twist. They got him home on the twist. He had a chance as a free rusher, and he just couldn't get there. Yeah. And I mean, where's that burst? Where's that close? And I just felt like that he needed to do a little bit better job when they get him free to get around that corner and go. And then when he also rushes on the outside, getting around the corner, it just seemed like they was kind of a, it was taking him time to do that. And like that rush down the middle, that does nobody any good. Nope. I mean, that gets him in some trouble, but I saw him kind of redirect back to the ball. But I was thinking at 6'5", 265, Georgia edge, I was thinking of a damn missile and a guy that came off the ball and was just going to be super disruptive. Sure. I watched the Alabama game. I watched the Ole Miss game. Yeah. It just wasn't that way for him. So I struggled with him a little bit. Good looking kid physically, but you talked about the traits and stuff like that. Yeah. Man, he's going to have to develop some stuff as a pass rusher, in my opinion.
And I just feel nervous about those kind of guys. I think if you want a dude that can get sacks, like get you a dude that gets sacks, that's used to getting sacks, that always gets sacks. He's not even a get sack guy. If you know what I'm saying? If you look at his numbers, I think he's got like 2 this year, maybe he had like 4 last year. So he's not even really that kind of guy like that. So I was looking at him and I was excited because Dane had him at 8, but I don't think I can't agree with that one. If I
had a hard time with that one because like when you started ranking them, I mean, I was sitting there thinking, gosh, he's got Williams. I personally have Williams of the 4 guys we've talked about tonight. Yeah. I feel like I've got Williams as the number 4 in that group. Yeah. Because the next guy I think we're going to talk about is the Jaylen Walker, the linebacker, number 11. Mm-hmm. What did you think of Jaylen Walker? Were you not as high on Jaylen Walker, or what did you think about him?
Well, Brian, let me tell you how we got here. So, me and you were working off of this PFF list.
Right.
Jaylen Walker wasn't on the first page.
Wasn't on the first page, yeah.
Jaylen Walker was down here ranked 58. That'll put you at the back of the second round. Yeah. But Dane got Jaylen Walker at 7. So I was like, all right, one of y'all going to be right. I started watching the film, and you're either 2 types of linebackers in my mind, right? Or three. You're either the super athlete that ain't smart. Yeah. You super smart but ain't fast. Yeah. Or you both and you special. Right. That's what I feel like, right? Right. I'm watching them, and I think Georgia's trying to use them. I think Micah Parsons has just sparked this type of.
There's no question. That's. I mean, the last line of my report is. Yeah. He wears the same number as Mike in his time. They sure try to use him like that.
And Abdul Carter the same kind of way, right? Like so Micah sparked something with these coaches or whatever, right? Right. I think. And Brian, this is a joke that I've been saying my whole life. I'm gonna start saying here on the draft show is when you good, you a hybrid player, right? But when you bad, you're a tweener, right? I don't think he's exceptionally great at linebacker. I don't think he's exceptionally great at pass rusher. I think at pass rusher, I think he runs into the same kind of issues as Michael Williams. I don't think he knows how to do it. I think he runs down the middle of guys. I watched him versus Alabama, and Jalen Milroe kind of ran around on him a little bit, Yeah. And it was like a Clemson or some other game I was watching, but he just didn't really have a feel for how to really pass rush. He's like an athlete. He's a good sized guy, right? So maybe he's another, guy that you can kind of develop and grow and all this kind of stuff. But then I watch him as like a linebacker, and I focus my mind as a linebacker, and I started thinking about how much we love Our linebackers last year, our guy from NC State and all those guys, and I
Yeah.
couldn't really put him in a bubble as a linebacker. He didn't really seem like a super athletic player to be playing linebacker. You know, he
Yeah.
seemed like a guy that's probably going to be a full-time end on the next level for me, Brian. He didn't really seem to diagnose very well, so I was kind of stuck in limbo with him. So if I had to pick between Dane Brugler and PFF, I think PFF ranking him at 58 was a little more right than Dane Brugler ranking him at 7, Brian.
You know, it's funny. I watched games opposite of what you did.
Okay.
I watched him play Texas and I watched him play Kentucky,
Okay.
the two I had. And I saw something different from what you saw.
That's interesting. Okay, let's do it.
And I felt like this is like a high motor, high effort player. And I did think he had a knack in these games of getting after the quarterback. I saw him closing ground. I didn't think he waited around to make a play. I think he's generally the one trying to make the play. I think this kid's a strong tackler. I think he can wrap him up. I think he can finish. I mean, he's running guys down in the open field at Texas, you know, and making plays. His dad was a college coach too. So coming from that kind of that football family background stuff, I kind of, I'm always like kind of looking at those angles. I do think there's some suddenness to his game. I think he'll come flying off the ball. I do think he's explosive. I think he can redirect. I think he's got the physical traits that you were talking about, that hybrid linebacker edge.
Sure.
I think you could see him winning with athletic ability. I really do. I think there's that speed, the power, and it gives blockers a different look the way he plays. So I think that, to me, the thing that might be that, did you play him as an edge or is he just a linebacker? But I do see a relentless player. I do think that they're trying to use him much like what we've seen with a Micah Parsons type of a player.
Yeah.
But that's just watching two games. Now, if I watch Alabama and what was the other game you had? You remember?
Alabama and Clemson is what I watched.
Yeah. If I get those games, then I will definitely, maybe I'll see this guy another way. But I thought in the Texas and Kentucky games, that's my notes from those games. And I thought I do at 6'2", 245.
Yeah.
I think there's something to this kid's game. I mean, the way he could track guys down. They were playing Texas, and I believe it was Quinn Ewers, and he's kind of hanging back, almost like he's spying, waiting for Quinn Ewers to move.
Yeah.
And then Ewers goes to his right. Or no, it wasn't Ewers, it was Manning. It was Manning goes to his right, and he's trying to escape. And not that Manning is, Lamar, Jackson or anything like that.
Sure.
But he's running to his right, and you see Walker's like tracking him. And then all of a sudden it was like downhill when once Manning got outside the pocket, it was like Walker was on a dead sprint and tracked him and then got him on, and I was like, holy geez. But it was like he was waiting. And once Manning moved outside, boom, he went out there and made the tackle. So like I say, I need to get the film you're watching. Again, this is very early for all of us.
Sure.
I'm kind of glad that we have some disagreements on some of these guys.
Yeah.
And I'm not calling it a disagreement, but it might be just the film that you're watching.
A bad game. Yeah. Bad game.
Yeah,
I just found Texas, and I'm gonna still look for Kentucky. When we're done here, I'm gonna watch those. Yeah. And I'm gonna see if I change my mind, because I love this that we're doing now. This is great.
I'm not looking for you to change your mind.
No, sure.
I need to. I'm not trying to make you do it.
No, Brian. Millions of people gonna be watching us. I got to make sure I got this shit together. Look, we don't have to agree, but I just want to. I just want to. Yeah, I just want to.
Trust me, we've got a long way to go on this thing, and there's going to be a lot more players. I just felt like, to me, that guy was a pretty damn explosive player. Now, I can get the Clemson game and the other game, and he might be absolutely dead balls right. And I'm like, shit, Voch is right about this. Yeah. But those are the two games that I saw. I was pretty impressed by the kid in what I saw. But like I say, Jaylen Walker, but okay, Burton,
for sure.
Walker, Campbell, and Williams.
Okay.
That's kind of how I had my 4 that we did for the day.
Okay, when I was watching them, I was watching them with my audience or whatever. Shouts out to the Patreon, patreon.com/vochlombardi.
So you're watching the Clemson game and with your crew.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Not like live on the big YouTube, because I don't want nobody to get in trouble for me having film stuff. But deep down in my hidden Patreon circle, people know how to get there. We was watching it together, and I feel like we were all just waiting on. We were just waiting on him to make a play. Like, we were just waiting on Jaylen Walker to make a play. Like, we saw him moving around. We saw him playing both spots and all this kind of stuff. But I just didn't see him
like
emerge.
You say, it could very well be the film that we're watching, because, like I said, Texas and Kentucky, I felt like that it was like he was making some plays, especially the Texas game. I think you're going to see Texas is coming off the goal line, and he comes on an outside rush from the right, and like Ewers tries to go forward in the pocket, and he just trips him up right there. I mean, he gets him in the pocket, and the ball's down right on about the 2-yard line.
Now, see, Brian, that's interesting. On the season, Jaylen Walker has 4.5 sacks. He got 3 of them in just that Texas game.
Yeah.
So that's a good ass game for him. But
that's kind of where we're at right now.
That's where we at.
Explain to people.
Yeah.
You're kind of at the mercy of the film you're getting.
Playoffs still got to happen and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, we still got time.
It happens quite a bit. I mean, when you sit in a war room with other guys, you've got all the film.
I'll give you an example, Brian. I'll give you an example. Deron Payne, I thought, was a horrible player all year. Deron Payne for Alabama. But when he got to the playoffs, couldn't nobody block him.
Yeah.
When Deron Payne got to the damn playoffs, he was impressive, and he whooped everybody in front of him, and that's how he got drafted. So, hey, man, this is a very interesting thing.
I knew he had a lot of plays in that. I knew he had a lot of plays in that Texas game.
8 tackles, 3 sacks, and a fumble recovery. He went crazy versus Texas.
I would have drafted him in the first round off that game.
Just off that game.
There's games that you would take a guy.
Yeah.
I remember when Noah Brown when he came out of
Ohio State versus Oklahoma. He had
Ohio State versus Oklahoma.
4 touchdowns.
You would have taken Noah Brown in the first round off that one game.
I was excited, Brian, bro. I remember telling people, "Hey, look, Noah Brown didn't do much, but if we get this game."
Well, it was a good but that Georgia Texas game was a good matchup because you could see the Texas tackle playing. It kind of helps you a little bit there too.
What's happening? Yeah, Bryan Broaddus, you want to talk about the Houston Texans for like 20 seconds?
Yeah, no, in 20 seconds. You know what? We had on 105.3 The Fan on the G-Bag Nation today, we had a guest from that covers the Cody Shoot, I think is his name, Cody Shoot.
Shoot, all right.
Shoot. But Cody covers the Texans down there in Houston. And, he was kind of giving us he was selling hopium. But if you're a Cowboy fan, I went on Houston radio and I wasn't selling any hopium at all. I was for the Cowboys. I was thinking, but what they were talking about was Cody's very concerned about the Houston's offensive line in this game, especially because, listen, you got Micah Parsons, you look like, to me, there was some pass rush last week. And I'm like, there were some things that they did pretty well. He says Houston's offensive line right now is a mess. He says it really, really is a mess. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, good to know. He also said that there's a possibility about there on some defensive, some key. I think Houston's defense is really, really good.
I agree.
When you start to talk about
pressure, pass rush, great coverage, good corners,
all that stuff. When you start to talk about that, they always talk about successful plays. What's the percentage of successful plays? A successful play is deemed a play that gains 4 yards or more. Houston's like right around 37%. I think them and Detroit are the 2 teams in the league that have the lowest successful plays against them, the way they play. But he was telling me that it's likely that Will Anderson is not going to play.
That's huge.
The edge for them. He also said, keep an eye on Derek Stingley, the corner. He says Stingley's dealing with a hip right now, a hip injury, and there's some questions about his availability. He's also talking about Lassiter, the other corner that plays opposite Stingley.
Okay.
He says he's dealing with the concussions. I would not be surprised if he didn't play.
Yeah.
So I'm going, all right. So, he's like, well, they really don't have much behind them. He talked about Petrie and Kalen Bullock, the safety at USC. We all remember Kalen Bullock.
Yeah, for sure.
He wore number 7 at USC.
Big boy.
He's real tall and kind of thin,
Yeah.
but he played. He was like a ball hawk guy.
Sure.
Well, they're ball hawking him for the Texans because they're kind of trusting him. He's having to play, but they're trusting him to kind of play in the field. They feel like the kid reads stuff pretty well.
Yeah.
He's got 4 interceptions this year, so they're ball hawking him in the middle of the field. So if you make mistakes, this kid's finding a way to read and make plays. But I found it interesting that they're looking at a pretty banged up football team with like I say, if you don't get Lassiter with the concussion and Stingley with the hip that don't play, boy, that's huge because these guys, when you watch them play, they don't give up completions. Yeah. I mean, quarterbacks have problems throwing the ball. And then Jalen Petrie is a really, really good player at the nickel. He's kind of a tough, he was at a Baylor. Love the kid. Me and Kyle Yeomans, you would have loved this one. In the draft show, Yeomans started telling me about this kid. I don't know if he can play. Yeomans it's kind of like me and Will Campbell.
Yeah.
Because Yeomans is a Baylor alum. So we were talking about Petrie. I'm like, I don't know, Kyle. I'm watching this tape. That kid looks like he could play football to me. They play him down in the box. They play him in coverage. Mm-hmm. He tackles really, really well. So, this game for me, Voch, this is where it's going to come down to offensively for the Cowboys. You're going to get some type of blitz from the Texans on third down. Yeah. They are going to blitz you on third down. They are one of these teams that are going to play nickel. Now, we'll see what happens with all their bodies. They might not be able to play nickel like they want. But these guys, when they get in that nickel, they're a top 5 blitz team. And they love to do it on third down. And they love to get you in that passing situation and make you throw the football because they feel like they can get after you with their rush and then they feel like they can cover on the back end.
Yeah.
And which makes it Dallas has got to win on early downs.
Yeah.
And I mean, it can't be the whole game of 2nd and 9, 3rd and 8. It can't be that or, 2nd and 12 because of a sack or 2nd and 14 because of a sack. Dallas, if Dallas is going to have a chance offensively to have any success, they're going to have to win on early downs because third down, this team will smother you. Now, again, they'll smother you when they have all their players. Let's see if all their players are going to be able to answer the bell Monday night. They've got an extra day to kind of get that to get that all squared up. But it gave me some hope that if that secondary does not play complete, we'll see if Dallas can take advantage of that. They really haven't taken advantage of any real secondaries, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But if Will Anderson does not play, that leaves Daniil Hunter, and Dallas needs to know exactly where that number 55 is because he'll be a pain in the ass.
Well, Brian, to be honest with you, on them early downs, I don't think it's going to take penalties and sacks. I think Cooper Rush could just throw a regular pass like he normally throws at the line of scrimmage, and we'll be right
2nd and 8.
We'll be right at 2nd and 8, sir. So don't you worry about it, not one bit, man. Hey, O'Brien, man, I enjoy having these conversations with you, man. They getting better and better. Hey, for long.
So we got more guys. So we're following Dane's list, right? Is that what we're doing?
So let's get on it, Brian, bro. So let's do this for tomorrow, okay?
Okay, I want to make sure I got the right guys. So
let's do this for tomorrow. I want to revisit Walker after I've watched 2 more games.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
I need to do the same.
It's okay. We're gonna get it right. I'm gonna revisit Walker. The next players you seen Mason Graham, Burton, Will Campbell. Have you seen James Pierce from Tennessee, the pass rusher?
No, I'm marking James Pierce down right now.
Write that down. I watched him already though. Go ahead, watch him.
James Pierce.
Where you at on tight ends, Brian? You like watching tight ends? I normally hate them, but I'll do it
watch
for
any
you.
position you want. James Pierce is an edge.
James Pierce is an edge from Tennessee.
Okay. Oh, Tennessee got some players.
Yes,
all right. The next player a tight end?
The next player is Colston Loveland, tight end.
Colston,
first name, last name, Loveland.
Loveland. He's a tight end from
Michigan. I know. How funny, Brian. After that, at the 14 spot, Bryan Broaddus, we got a defensive tackle, Derek Harmon from Oregon.
Derek Harmon.
Yes, sir.
From I'm writing him down.
Okay.
Harmon. He's a defensive tackle. Have you seen him?
I have not seen him.
So we don't know if he's a 1 or a 3, right?
I don't know nothing about him.
All right. You'll get to see him then.
So, so that's 4 for you, right?
That's 3. You got Pierce,
Uh-huh.
Colston, Loveland.
Okay. So
Harmon.
cool. So you're going to watch Pierce and I'm going to watch Walker.
I've already watched, you said there was who was it I'd already watched? The name, who was the name after?
I already watched Pierce, so I was going to rewatch Walker. Then there's Colston Loveland, and then there's Derek Harmon.
Okay, so that's 3 guys you got. There's somebody I'd already done. There's somebody I already watched that you mentioned.
Oh yeah, we already watched Graham.
Graham, there you go.
Yeah, we already watched Graham.
Okay.
So after this, there's an edge rusher, a pass rusher, an edge guy. He 290, so I don't know. But from Texas A&M, and there's 2 edges from A&M this year.
The kid with begins with an S.
So it's 2. So there's Nick Scourton.
Okay, there you go. All right.
But that ain't this one though. Scourton falls later. Okay, so cool. Brugler got Scourton at 17, Texas A&M, but Shamar Stewart, another edge from Texas A&M. So Brugler got 2 edges from Texas A&M who last name start with an S at 15 and 17.
He didn't know which one. Dane got trapped.
It was close.
He got trapped. He didn't know which one to put at 15 and which one to put at 17.
So I'm gonna watch Shamar Stewart then because he's at 15. I've already watched Scourton though. Nick Scourton.
Shamar Stewart.
Yep.
Okay, let me walk you through who I got again. Okay. This guy's an edge, right? Is who we're talking about?
Stewart is an edge. Yep.
Texas A&M. Okay. The homework assignment for me is James Pierce, edge Tennessee.
Yep.
Colston Loveland, tight end Michigan. Oh, this ought to be fun. Who we got? Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, Oregon.
Yes, sir.
And Shamar Stewart, edge Texas A&M.
That's your list.
And we talk about these dudes tomorrow night.
We're gonna talk about it tomorrow. You want 5 or is 4 enough?
4's good.
4's good. Okay,
I'm doing with an old man. You're doing
with
an old
bed.
man.
You gotta go to bed on time. I got you, boss man. Okay, that's our list then. That's our list. You we both got 3 and 1 different. So that'll be a cool conversation for tomorrow then, Brian.
Right.
That's what we'll
good.
do on Friday. All right. Hey, chat, tell us how you enjoyed the show. If you watched Jaylen Walker, tell us what you thought about, and tell us if y'all doing all right, man. Because we love to know if y'all are doing all right, man. We love y'all back. You know what I mean? Y'all follow me on all my socials, man. I'm VOCHLONBARD. I'm going crazy on the internet right now. So be sure to tap in with me today on Patreon, Brian. We watched Ashton Genty just to kind of watch a little bit more of him. And Brian, you just can't get enough of watching him. He's a good pass blocker too.
You know what you got to be careful of, my friend?
What's that?
You got to be careful of this. You're now a draft influencer.
Yep.
Everybody, when you start to talk about, you start to talk about whys and whys and whys and whys.
Let me tell you why you're right. Because there's some other Cowboy content creators.
You can influence some people doing this.
There's Cowboy content creators right now. Shouts out to Foots, DMV, and all those guys. Yeah. They're tagging me on Twitter saying, "Oh, we finally got Voch on the running backs. Welcome home, Voch." I still got 5 players I'll take before Genty. But I know you do. But I love Genty.
Genty, yeah.
I want this one tick.
The night that Genty goes, you and I'll be sitting in the same room, and it'll be like, you'll be like, that was a good pick. That was a good pick, man. That's a team right there that knows something about team building.
Let me tell you how obsessed I am, Brian. I looked up the schedules of the teams in front of us just to try to see if they can lose some games or see if they can win some games while we lose some games. I want that top 5,
bro. Tankathon.
I want that top 5. But anyway, and he's Bryan Broaddus. Y'all make sure to tap in with him as well, and we'll be talking to y'all in the comment sections early in the morning. All right, y'all hold down for the Dubsky Walls and Peace. We'll catch y'all next time. Crown.